Welcome everyone to our webinar. Today's webinar is on Quicklites, a color service that is an easy, quick color service that includes base color and highlights. The webinar today is hosted by myself. I'm Gary Call. I'm the Vice President of Bricado, and our presenter today is Jesse Skittrell. Jesse is a salon owner of Swake Style Studio located in the Northwest, north of Seattle. And he's also a senior creative design team member for Bricado. And it's great to have Jesse here with us to present and to be the leader of our webinar. We're going to be hosting the webinar and sharing information about the webinar eventually on social media. Social media is a big part of what we do at Bricado, and we encourage you to be involved in all different kinds of social media with us. Please make sure that you like us on Facebook and become part of the conversation. Our Facebook conversation includes you as stylists. It includes consumers. We have fashion bloggers, fashion magazines that comment and get involved with what we do there. YouTube is also a part of our social media network. On YouTube, we have a lot of people that visit our webinars. In fact, later today, this webinar will be posted on YouTube, as well as we have a library of more than 30 other webinars, classes, and different video clips and things that are posted to our YouTube channel. Many stylists and fashion bloggers are involved with Bricado at Instagram. On Bricado Today, they post photos of their work, photos of street fashion that they see, photos of different hairstyles and hair colors that they'd like to duplicate, as well as photos of the techniques that they do in the salon. So Instagram's a place where you can connect. And the last place that we're social is on Twitter. Usually what happens on Twitter is a little bit of dialogue and comment about what's going on in the salon, what they've seen, comments about quick service ideas or techniques, and also just some comments about how they're feeling today and what they see in terms of fashion. So we encourage everybody to stay involved and be part of the conversation, be part of the beauty conversation, the Bricado conversation that's going on around the industry and in the salon. Our webinar today is focused on a great service that's designed to give you new opportunities for making money, new opportunities for services in the salon. And one of the things that's most exciting is that the Quicklites service gives you a new way for gray coverage and base color in the salon. And so without any further ado, I want to turn the webinar over to Jesse, and he's going to share with us the techniques and the way that we do Quicklites in the salon. So Jesse, the seminar is yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Gary. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to share this information, and first and foremost, I want to say thank you to every hairdresser that's on here that's giving us a little bit of time to share this information. So I'm going to try to be as direct and succinct as I can about the information. Quicklights is a very exciting piece because it's not necessarily that it's a new service, it's just about your workflow working smarter, not harder, and creating a level of consistency that can go with it as well. So we're going to just jump right in. So what we're going to cover is really what is a quick light and how do we define it, how it's done, some of the best practices, time standards, and how to work your workflow efficiently to be more productive and profitable, as well as pricing and how to market it. So we'll just go right for it. The first thing I like to tell people is defining what a quick light is. A quick light is a retouch plus highlights done all in one time. It's commonly known as tone on tone color in the salon. This is one of those hot button areas that colorists continuously talk about all the time. Is what we find in the salon is hairdressers put their foil packets into the hair, and they put their lightener on, and the scalp lightens really fast, quick, and easy. The ends don't lighten quite as well, or they try to shove color between their packets, and you get these holidays or holes in your color that don't lighten, or the gray isn't covered, and then you spend all your time and energy toning. So this is a really easy way to do it all in one shot. And you've seen, we've all organically figured this out as hair colorists, where we put on our base color and we put our highlights over the top of that wet color and process it all together. No manufacturer before now has actually come out and said that this is an acceptable practice. So we want to be one of the first manufacturers to bring this to you and show you how to do this and be able to recreate it on a consistent basis. So this just gives you a really beautiful visual of what this looks like in the salon. So here's the how-to. The first thing I like to encourage people and let them know is this is a practice that has been endorsed by the American Board of Certified Hair Colorists. This is a group of hair colorists that have come together to create non-manufacturer based education. So through the American Board of Certified Hair Colorists, or the ABCH as they're commonly called, you're going to hear the word tone on tone. And in the examination process, this practice of putting color at the scalp and putting a lightener right over the top of it, wet hair color at the same time, is an acceptable practice that would actually get you quite high marks with the American Board of Certified Hair Colorists. So we're going to reference back to them on a consistent basis. So let's take a look at how the service is actually accomplished. So this is an actual guest in the salon. This is Darlene. Darlene is 80 to 90% gray, and she just wants what she had when she was a little bit younger. So her goal is 8 stroke 3/6, so a level 8 gold with a soft violet behind it. So something very believable looking. And again, one of the things that I like to drive home that I really want you to plug into your brain when you're doing these types of techniques is natural hair color results, which would dictate that the hair color at the scalp would be deeper and cooler, and hair color on the ends would be lighter, brighter, and warmer. Hair around the face would be lighter, and hair at the occipital should be a little bit darker. So we're going to mimic those in a quick light situation. So the first thing we did is we applied Darlene's retouch. Here we just use 8 stroke 0 or 8N, which is a neutral, and 50% of our formula in neutral and 50% of our formula in tonality with 20 volume, and just applied a standard retouch just like we do every single day in the salon. Very simple, very straightforward. And then one of the best practices I really encourage people to do is when you are cross-checking yourself, once you have your retouch applied, you can see here how we're cross-checking and turning the brush vertically and just kind of dragging a few pieces, because we know hair color is going to age or fade a little bit, regardless of what brand it is. It's going to happen to you. You want to soften that line and let those ends be just a little bit lighter and brighter, and it keeps that what I call the fill in the gap thing from happening. So it gives you a little bit more believability and starts the conversation about how the ends should be a little bit lighter and brighter. So once we've got a retouch applied, we've softened the outgrowth, we're going to come through and put in our foils. But before we actually start that, I highly encourage you as a best practice to count out 15 foils or less. This really is capped out at about 15 foils. So when you're talking about a quick light as a service, this is not a partial foil with base color. A partial foil actually includes more hair into the practice. So this is really only about 15 foils or less. So I encourage you to count them out on your tray. Reason being is as hair colorists, we get to going and we just put a whole bunch in, and next thing you know, you're going to have a partial foil into the head of hair. So this is a really great way of preventing that. You're going to put up to 15 foils in the head. So on Darlene, once we had our base color applied, we had already mixed in our bowl powder lights with 20 volume to apply her foils. And here we go ahead and just do a weave right off the part line, and we apply the powder lights to that weave section. And you can see how the color is actually just pushed through the process. Again, the American Board of Certified Hair Colorists has endorsed this practice because the belief is the hair is already in an alkaline state with the color, so we're just going to push the color through the process. And you saw how it changed in that process, and it just continues to remove and blow out that color and lighten the hair through it. So it will lighten through that hair color that is at the scalp at the same rate that the hair color lightens on the mid-lengths and ends. So you saw how I applied it and then just took the brush vertically and feathered it through a little bit. So let's talk about the placement with the 15 foils. Here we have Darlene's part line, and right above the part line on her heavy side, we just put one foil just directly above it, and then a pinky width from there we applied another one, and then another pinky width we applied another one, and then we began to go with a forefinger width from the other one to a thumb width. So these are closer together on the part line, and they get further apart as you get to the recision. The same thing happens on the light side, directly underneath the part line, pinky width, forefinger width, and you've gone from recision to recision. So the bulk of the focus of the color is right over the part line and goes right out to recision. And then right at the crown, we're just going to put one right across the apex of the head. That's the highest point of the head that's going to give us the most visibility to the whole head. And then two foils right over the corners of the head, just so she's not a blonde coming and a brunette going. It gives her connectivity to the back of the head. And then a couple foils slightly diagonal on either side of the head. Now you'll notice there's one that connects directly to the hairline from edge to edge, and the second one above that is about an inch away from the recision of the hairline and actually connects behind the ear. Again, it keeps the color from being just isolated in front of her head and gives her connectivity to the back of the head. And literally 15 foils or less, you've gotten your base color and your partial foil, your 15 foils applied on top of the head. A best practice that we highly suggest when you're doing this is apply your base color, apply your foils, and then make sure and color balance the color that's in between each packet. As a practice to create perceived value with your guests, if you color all of the hair on the head, you're going to get a perceived value that's a little bit higher and greater, especially for these services that are a little bit more project or a little bit more expensive. So here we just applied a demi-permanent 9-stroke 3/7, so it's a soft gold in our demi in between because we want that level 8 at the scalp. We just needed to spark it up a little bit on the mid-lengths and ends. So a good practice that I encourage people is to look at that hair color in between the foils and think of DTS, depth, tone, shine. If you look at that hair color between the foils and you see that the depth is missing from the hair that's there, the tone is missing, and the shine is missing from the hair, you're probably going to want to mix up a durable demi, our permanent hair color, with 1/3 of our perfectly clear and 1/3 of our cream activator, and that's going to give you the depth, tone, and shine that you're looking for without being too overly aggressive on the hair shaft. If the depth is there but the tone is missing and the shine is missing, simply use our demi-permanent liquid hair color. It works beautifully for that. If you look at it and you see the depth is there, the tone is there, but the shine could be a little bit better, simply using 00 clear straight out of the bottle on that hair in between the foils is just going to give you maximum reflection and shine on the hair. So take responsibility for all of the hair and color balance that hair in between the packets. So here we've applied our color balance and we processed the whole thing together. In the last 3 to 5 minutes of the processing time here, you can see as I'm pulling these packets off as they're processed and wiping off the excess lightener with my gloved hand and then just massaging the rest through. This is where the tone on tone comes into place. So that base color actually has the ability to slightly tone those highlights and color balance and harmonize everything in between. So this all lives in the same family and the same tonality. So very simple, very straightforward process, and then we rinse and finish. And here's the finished result with Darlene. Deeper and cooler at the scalp, lighter and brighter and warmer on the ends, and she's got that little bit of highlight traveling throughout the front of the fringe. Now what you'll notice is right where the highlight connects with the scalp, there's a very soft line, and because of how the lightener connects with the color, it doesn't create a strong line of demarcation like I normally would get if I applied my foil on hair that didn't have the lightener or didn't have the color already on it. So you're going to have a very soft line of demarcation. The client only needs to get this done every second or third visit. They don't need to get it done every single time, and you want to educate them on what they need to be getting in between. So on Darlene's next visit, we would just simply do a base color retouch and charge her appropriately for that. Very simple, very straightforward process, very simple and easy. The one trick or caveat with this is to make sure that you gauge your developer so that it lifts in that 30-minute processing time with that guest. So what you would normally do if you were to normally put highlights on Darlene's hair, and she's got pretty fine hair, I would normally use 10 volume. You're now going to hike it up by about 10 more volume, up to 20 volume. So just gives it a little bit more punch to work through that color as well. If you're working on very dark levels, say a level 4 or darker, what you'll want to do is when you go to put that highlight into that wet base color of the hair is take a dry brush and just kind of wipe off the excess color and wipe that onto a towel and then put your lightener over the top of it so that it has the ability to punch through a little bit better and the whole thing can process all together. Here we have the same concept done in a balayage base. So this is a quick light where we applied 7-stroke 0 and 777 with 20 volume on the scalp, and that same softening effect where we slightly pulled it through, and right over the top we applied our cream lights and 20 volume in a balayage fashion, in an accent balayage, maybe no more than 15 pieces put throughout the whole surface of the hair to give it a nice soft look. So you can do this with balayage as well and charge the same process. Here's another case study. This is Jessica. She's a guest in the salon. And Jessica's a natural level 6, fine hair, and she wants to be fairly blonde and light without being bleach blonde. And you can see how her hair color ages quite yellow at the scalp. So what we did is we went in and applied 11-stroke 2, which is a green-based high lift with double 40 volume. And with her, there's a little kind of helpful hint that you can do. I put in 1 gram of blue black hair color into that same formula, and that little bit of blue gives me even a little bit more control of that warmth as her hair color lifts and cuts through that little bit of yellow. The only caveat I do tell people with that is that you're going to get a little bit more depth to the hair color as well. So it's not going to be as bright of a blonde as what you would traditionally have. Maybe it's going to live a little bit more at a level 9 than it is at a level 10, but you have maximum control of that warmth. So we went in and applied her base color, just like we traditionally would do, and then we used cream activator and powder lights right over the top of it and applied our foils over that wet hair color at the same time. And you can see again how when we hit the color with ammonium persulfate, how it pushes it through the process and changes it, and you see that pink tone that starts to go through. That's totally normal process. Don't let it freak you out. It should just blow right past that color and begin to lighten the hair color. Ammonium persulfate or bleach only knows one thing: to remove pigment, whether it's artificial wet pigment or previously colored hair or naturally occurring hair. It only knows one thing: lighten. So here we applied our foils, no more than 15 foils to the top of the head. Here's her placement. Jess has a side part line at a diagonal, and what we did is we just applied slices right over the top of it, right up to her hairline, and then a couple, 3 foils on the heavy side and maybe only 2 foils on her light side, and let those all process together with the cream lights. 45 minutes for that high lift tint, so we want to shoot down with our developer a little bit because she has fine hair, and we want it to all process together at that 45-minute mark. The last 5 minutes, I kept the lightener that was already in the bowl, and we just brushed that right around the hairline for the last 3 to 5 minutes, just to give that soft edge to those baby fine hairs, so they were really nice and pale right around her hairline. So it gives her a much more believable look. Again, natural, believable hair color should be deeper and cooler at the scalp and lighter and brighter and warmer on the ends. And you can see the finished result. She has dimension, she has control of the warmth in the hair. You can see her natural color poking out in between where we left her occipital out, and it has a very soft, believable blonde look to the hair. So one thing that we really like to encourage you to think about is the time standard. This is more about working efficiently than it is about working hard. And one of the things that I encourage hairdressers to do is take a look at how you can become more productive and profitable through your time standard, through having an average way that you work. So in the salon, typically, when we apply a base color, we book out 30 minutes of application time, 30 minutes of processing time, and 30 to 45 minutes for haircut time at the very end, or finishing time, or whatever the situation may be. So we can book something in that 30 minutes in between if we wanted to. Really, if you think about it, how long does it really take you to apply a retouch color to a client that you've done for an extended period of time? You have a 5-10 minute consultation on where you're going to go, make any color adjustments to the base, throw out any ideas that you're going to do, mix it up, and once you have it applied, it really takes about 10 minutes to apply that retouch color to the hair. So you really are running kind of slightly ahead. So what we encourage you to do is train your front desk staff to ask questions, because here's what a quick light looks like. A quick light is the exact same time standard: 30 minutes of application time, 30 minutes of processing time, and 30 to 45 minutes of finish time. Because the reality is, it's going to take you 15 minutes to formulate, consult, and apply that retouch color. You have another 15 minutes that you can apply 15 foils. 15 foils should not take you more than 15 minutes. That's a minute of foil. So you should be able to get that all on very quickly in that 30-minute time frame and charge a little bit more. This is a really big money maker in the salon because I haven't changed the amount of time I've already committed. They're both exactly the same. So I can easily, fluidly turn my base color clients into quick light clients if necessary on the fly, which is much easier to do than to try to find space for that project hair color correction, or partial foils, or full foils, or whatever the situation may be. So this is where you really want to look at maximizing your books, is doing that in a quick light. Where you really want to think about it is educating the guest and educating your front desk staff. Inevitably, when a guest calls and she'll say, I want my hair colored, the front desk is usually pretty good about saying, are we doing just a color, or is there actually foils involved? And once they hear that word foil, they typically mark out for a base color, and they mark out the time for a partial foil, leaving you with anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours marked out on your books for what could be a much more efficient service. So I encourage you to educate the front desk to ask, are you primarily getting a retouch with a few foils on the head, aka a quick light, or are you actually going for more than that, which is a partial with a base color? And that's going to be a little bit more of an extensive service that you're going to offer the client. But quick lights are going to be a really great use of your time and energy. And then also educate the guest to ask for a quick light. So when she's calling and scheduling with the front desk, if she hasn't scheduled before she's already left the salon as she should be, then she can just say quick light and the front desk knows what they need to put in there. And that just lets the hairdresser know that they're going to be putting in 15 foils on that client in that 30-minute time standard. And it becomes a much more fluid way to communicate and be effective on your bookings in the salon. So work smarter, not harder. So just a quick review of kind of what we've gone over. This is an American board certified hair colorist endorsed technique called tone on tone. So highly encourage you to add this to your menu. Use the word quick lights. It's a new twist on highlights. Again, no more than 15 foils. So you're going to want to pre-count out your foils into your workspace so you don't go crazy and start putting in 20, 30 foils, turning it into a partial foil situation. And it's very time efficient by having a standard for service. So by that same time block being used over and over again, you're going to find that you can be much more efficient and effective, productive, and profitable. Those are the four keywords that I like to use in your business. And train your guests. A key thing is to train your guests and your support staff to request a quick light and to use the communication in the salon and really help them understand that this is just a few minimal highlights just to break up the line of demarcation of where they're at. All right,
Something we
that's my
haven't talked
story.
about, Jesse, something we haven't talked about is what's the upcharge? What's the additional charge for adding the quick lights?
Great question. Depending, of course, depending upon your market, I can tell you in my world, a base color costs $65 and a quick light costs $85. So I would say on the low end of adding additional $20, on the high end, adding an additional $50 to your
Okay.
ticket. Great question.
So as far as a revenue builder, one of the things to really keep our minds open and one of the things to really talk about inside the salon is any way that we can build the ticket price and add to the options in this salon without adding time to the service, a way of increasing our sales in the salon, in the chair, without changing the time standard is really a great opportunity for the stylist to be able to add to their ticket. So it's a $20
Absolutely.
upcharge or more for that service. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask? If you want to type in your questions, we'd be happy to ask those and to share them with Jesse and get his answers. Make sure that you're not confused or make sure that you don't have a question when you're applying a lightener over the top of color. You will get an instant processing or an instant color change. You saw in the model that Jesse showed that the hair color instantly turned pink. Sometimes it will instantly turn violet. That's okay. All of that is instant oxidation that you see happen to the hair color product. Sometimes you'll see color. There'll be a lot of color product, and you may want to keep a dry brush handy. Just take the brush and remove some of that color product before you put the lightener over the top of the color. That'll sometimes help you get the lightening product right over the top quickly and enable you to answer or enable you to get the lightener on there really easily as well. So that'll help as well. Anything else, Jess?
I think we've covered it.
All right. Well, we've got a couple of promotions that we want to show you that are available right now. In March and April, we have a great promotion for those that are looking for deep conditioning for the spring months. Right now, we have a promotion that offers shampoos for only $1 to the client, to the retail client. You purchase your treatments at the regular price, and you have the opportunity of offering the corresponding shampoo for just $1. And of course, the professionals have the professional discount on shampoos as well. So the consumer pays the regular price for their treatment and they receive the shampoo for $1. This kind of a discount also gives you the opportunity of sharing the shampoo and the treatment at an extremely discounted price that you might even consider including the shampoo at no charge with a color service or with a chemical service in the salon. This particular promotion, is available with the Vibracolor products, with Cloud9 products, with Curl Karma, with Saturate, and with other regimens in the Bricato family. For professional, in the professional category, we're offering a promotion on Bricato Demi-Color, purchase Bricado Demi-Color, 4 bottles of Demi-Color, and you receive the activating liquid at no charge. This is a 29% savings and will help you prepare for Demi-Color glazing and toning in the spring. And you also saw Jesse using Bricado activating liquid as something to mix with lightener as a lightening service to use for highlighting. It's also a great option to use Demi-Color mixing with cream light. So there's a couple of different ways to use Demi-activating liquid. And a way to get that into the salon at a discount right now is at no charge with 4 bottles of Demi liquid. So there's a way to save on hair color in the next couple of months. Coming up, we have our next webinar is going to be on April 14th, and it's called Spring Inspirations. We're going to talk about how hair fashion follows clothing fashion and look at some of the things that we're seeing for spring fashion in 2014. The webinar is going to be presented by Jeremy Schiffley. Jeremy is a salon owner in Wisconsin, and he's a member of the senior design team. He's worked a lot in the Bricado Academy, hands-on teaching haircutting and designing new styles. And the webinar will be hosted by Jesse. So we look forward to hearing Jesse and Jeremy sharing their ideas where hair styles, hair cutting, and hair fashion connects with clothing fashion for the coming spring season. So we look forward to hearing from them. That'll be at 1 o'clock on April 14th. And of course, it'll also be uploaded to YouTube. And remember to go back and make sure that when you see webinars, you see the webinars that we broadcast, or if you see any other webcasts, share your thoughts on Facebook and follow up with photos on Instagram, and then check out Twitter and see what else is going on. And of course, visit our Facebook page. And if you haven't been on our new
Website.
website, that's what it's called. We have a great new website. It's been completely redesigned in the past few months, and there's some beautiful new information there for you to check out at bricadotoday.com. We want to thank you for being with us today and for taking the time to visit us, and hope that you'll take time to spend with us at each of our webinars and visit the past webinars that have been broadcast. We appreciate the time you spend with us at Bricado. Jesse, any parting words?
I thank you, everybody, for your time. Please keep us posted on what you can do with Quicklites in your salon and how it makes you money.
Absolutely. Stay in touch, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.